Hey, what's up, Terry?
John coming by from the Jazz?
Look like he's not. The Tigers, they got down 35-0 to Tulane. Comeback was a little bit short, so he's not feeling so good. A little football depressed.
Yeah. So, you give him a hard time about it, aren't you?
Yeah, I kind of am with the Tennessee thing right now, being undefeated.
Yeah.
Number 3 in the nation. Yeah, I have been kind of roasting him, but he told me just wait to see about Kentucky. Okay, welcome to this week's JS Report. TS is stepping in yet again. John, I'm going to tell you about my past week, sir. And hopefully you enjoyed this week's show because we're going to have a special guest, Terry Hollahan, the Bartlett Express editor. He's been covering the Bartlett Panthers all season. We're going to talk to him in a couple takes. But now we're going to talk about me, the typical sports editor of the West 10 Media, and what I've been doing this past week. This past week I went up to Brighton and checked out Dyer County Brighton. Now this matchup was important because the winner was still going to be in playoff position in Region 8-5A, and the loser was going to be pretty much eliminated. Now the Brighton Cardinals, you gotta applaud them for their effort this year. Hunter Lampley, the 4th-string quarterback, went out there and led a touchdown drive. They take an early lead, but then Dyer County, with their experience, their great running back, took over and dominated the game and ended up prevailing 39-14. But Brighton never gave up. Coach Morgan Crew and his team, they're young, battled injuries all year. The first 2 quarterbacks went down with leg injuries and everything like that. So for the Cardinals, I got to give them a shout out for putting in that effort. But Dyer County is now in position. Munford Cougars are the class of that league right now. Have a big matchup for Memphis Central coming up this week. Can they go undefeated? Memphis Central's going to try to go up to Tipton County and stop all that. And Southwind is also in playoff position along with Memphis Central in that region. And that's my first take. And now to take 2. There's going to be some superstars emerging from our postseason that's coming up in November. In our area, we have a lot of great players. Now, at the Millington Star, I get to cover the Millington Trojans primarily. Our young quarterback, McCord Pugh, who's a junior, he's emerging nicely, and the offense starting to click. They put up 40 points at McNary Central. But the guy to watch out for that team is Jonathan Temple Dowdy, a junior linebacker that does pretty much everything. And he's starting to emerge on offense a little bit. And let's give a little love to Javion Todd of the Millington Trojans as well. Then, as we head up towards Shelby County, Houston High School, they're not 7-2 by accident. This team is starting to put some things together nicely because of Chandler Day. And everybody knows about the running back, Mr. Cisa, and you can't miss big old Vice. That 6'11" target. Now, I wonder, does he play basketball? But he's sure doing a good job on the football field these days. They got a triple threat out there. Then if we come to Bartlett, Mr. Ragland, all the headlines go to him as the quarterback, but the receiving core is emerging nicely, and that defense at Bartlett is going to be the reason why they can make a long playoff run. And also, they might take first place in their league. All they got to do is take care of Whitehaven, a young Whitehaven team. Going down to the Haven and doing that is not going to be a small order, but the Panthers are ready this year. And with that defense, they can make a nice long run. So let's look for some notable players to make their names out there in this postseason and have been doing great things all season. Thomas Ellis Jr. back with Take 3, and like I said, our special guest, Terry Hollahan of the Bartlett Express, the editor. He's been moonlighting as a sports editor this season. He looked forward to the challenge of following the Bartlett Panthers. Now, when the season started, he heard some good things from Coach Tucker, how the team was going to be. He knew the trip down to Hoover was going to be tough, and it was. But he also said this team could do something special. Terry, like you predicted correctly, they're sitting number 1 in Region 6A right now.
Yeah. Well, you know, they won a big game against Collierville just this past weekend, and it was a tough game. One of the things Bartlett's done against the better teams in the the region, they've turned the ball over a lot, but their defense has really stepped up to the plate. And three of their best defensive backs, Devin Rutherford, Marco Tyson, and Ramon Rinkin, all had interceptions against Collierville. That was really the difference in the game. Low scoring, 17-7 game.
Yeah.
So the defense is really, I think, what has powered them, along with, their great quarterback, Braylon Ragland. So they've got the firepower to go deep if they can take care of the ball.
So they got the firepower, they got the defense, but they only lost by 1 point at Germantown. Special teams got them.
Right.
They are sitting 1 point away from being undefeated in the league. Talk about how special teams needs to show up for the Panthers.
Yeah, they got a good kicking game.
Okay.
They do need to step up on the special teams, and they got to take care of the ball. I think
That's the key for you.
They really do. They turned it over. They turned it over twice against Germantown, twice against Houston is still one, and 3 times against Collierville.
Wow.
But again, their defense stepped up so well, shut down the offense. Three good offenses.
Yeah.
So they've got to take care of the ball, and special teams will be key.
Okay, now all those teams you just named, they're playoff bound. Houston, Collierville, Germantown. And if these 4 teams take care of business against Whitehaven, Arlington, White Station, and Cordova, they should stay in the same order of Bartlett, Houston, Collierville, Germantown. But in the league that they oppose, Region 7, 6A, Centennial, Brentwood, Independence, Ravenwood, they're all 3-1. They all play each other. So the top 2 would take the 1-2. They have the tiebreaker. And then the bottom 2 would be 3 and 4. They have the tiebreaker. So our kids in our area would go to bed that night, not really sure knowing who they're going to play, but they know there's going to be a tough team. And you look at these defensive numbers. Collierville has the best defense out of these 8 teams. But what is your overall impression? Can our teams who only won 1 game last year in that first round, can they pull off more than 1 win?
I think so. I think they have to be really disciplined, take care of the ball. Those Middle Tennessee teams are very disciplined.
Yes.
They're not going to beat themselves. So, Bartlett has to play within itself, really play tough defense, and take care of the football.
And I think the same thing for Houston. Houston has, we mentioned their star power. They got what it takes. Germantown has the athleticism.
Yes.
And Collierville should have hunger from last year, losing in that second round, thanks to Ravenwood. So our team should be motivated. But those other teams, like you said, they had the tradition, they had the discipline, and that person, they don't beat themselves. You have to create turnover. You have to take the ball from them.
Right.
So, my last question for you, Terry. Now, keep in mind, you already edited the Bartlett Express.
Right.
And your office is in Bartlett, and the
Right.
school is right down the street. So I want you to keep that in mind as I throw this question out to you. Can Bartlett make a long run in the playoffs this year?
I think they can.
You say that with confidence. Why so?
Well, they've got a great leader in Braylon, calling plays. He can throw it. They've got a good upcoming receiving core. Jerron Johnson is a good running back. He's going to get him first downs. And they've got a great defense. Their coach, Lance Tucker, has them playing at a high level, has them playing with confidence. I think they can go deep. They're very confident right now.
Hey, and their sports reporter feels that way about them as well. But we appreciate you taking a moment with us, Terry, and
Sure.
enjoy the playoff run. And we'll catch you with the 4th tape. Now to take 4 of the JS Report this week. As you can see, we have to travel all over Shelby County. And this is the last week of the regular season. And I will be heading up to Millington, Tennessee to check out Bolivar Central versus Millington Trojans. It's their senior night, and Millington is looking to secure 3rd place in Region 7 3A. And been a tough year for the Trojans. They've made a lot of progress, been doing some great things, and I think they're going to start to hit their stride. They hate that they have to go on the road, and you got to see the Raleigh Egypts in the east and those teams over there on the other side. But I think Millington's going to be ready with their challenge. Another thing I'm looking forward to this week, right up the road in Tipton County, can Munford make it 10-0? Memphis Central, last year's game was a classic. The region championship was on the line. This, for Memphis Central, they can force a 3-way tie and cause some confusion. I think Munford will still get, with all the tiebreakers, still be number 1, but they want 10-0. They want to put all the doubts to rest. So when they wake up Saturday morning, they'll be a clear top seed with an opposing 10-0 record. Another thing that I'm looking forward to this week, Bartlett. they have to head down to the Haven. Can they secure their top seed in their region? They got the toughest matchup in region coming up because Coach Salisbury is going to have those Tigers ready. The Haven's going to show up in droves. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. They know they don't have a chance to make the playoffs, so this is their playoff game. Can they mess up things for the Panthers? Terry will be down there to get us a first-hand report on how things go down there in the Haven. And in the private school sector, all our teams need some momentum going into the playoffs. A lot of them going to make the playoffs by default, because certain numbers, they have to meet a quota and everything. But can you upset some people? It starts this week. You have to build up that momentum. So for the St. Benedict's, the Briarcrests of the world, can you build up that momentum and get things rolling into November? And that's my forte. No, let's get on John's nerves. But we're at that point of the week again, the Dynamic Power 10. Once again, we want to thank the good people at Dynamic Physical Therapy for sponsoring our Power 10 this year. And once again, the two locations in Millington, 8586 Highway 51 North, and up in Covington, 973 Highway 51 North. I know there's the team doctors for a few of the teams in Tipton County doing great work out there at Dynamic Physical Therapy, keeping our athletes primed to get out there on the field. Now, let's start with number 10. Number 10, Briarcrest Saints, they're 5-4. They had Innsworth coming up to end the season. Innsworth, they're tough. So can Briarcrest finish 6-4? We shall see. Number 9, the Millington Trojans at 5-4. Bolivar Central, they got to secure that third spot and build some momentum going into the playoffs. Number 8, Christian Brothers, also 5-4. They take on St. Benedict. They picked up a big win over Memphis Central, 35-7. They're trying to get some momentum, have 2 in a row. Number 7, the MUS Owls at 7-2. Another tough game at Brentwood Academy, but when you're in that league in Division II AAA, you know it's going to be tough. Number 6, Germantown Red Devils at 7-2. They finished the season with Cordova. Cordova's been going through a tough season, going through a transition with Coach Settler over there. They're trending in the right directions, but they're going to run into a tough Red Devil team to end the season. Number 5, the Covington Chargers at 7-2. They step into league with Bolton, and they're trying to make sure they go undefeated in their league play. They just took a tough loss to Haywood, but Haywood is the class of 4A in this area, so expect those Tomcats to go on a long run as well. Now we had number 4, the Collierville Dragons. They lost 2 in a row. That tough loss 17-7 to Bartlett. Their defense is only giving up 99 points this season. I think that defense is going to try to rule the day against Arlington to close the season. That's what they got coming up to end the regular season. Number 3, the Houston Mustangs at 7-2. They take on White Station. They just beat Arlington 39-0. Their defense is looking to pitch another shutout against the Spartans. Number 2, the Bartlett Panthers. Trying to establish themselves as the best team in Region A6A. They can go a long way in doing it by beating Whitehaven this week on the road. And at number 1, at 9-0, the last remaining undefeated team, the Munford Cougars up there in Tipton County. They take on the Memphis Central Warriors, or as some people like to say, D High School. They take them on this week, and after beating Kingsbury 53-0, can they wrap up a perfect season and a perfect region slate? We shall see. The Warriors are not going to just hand it over to them. And there you have our Dynamic Power 10. And go Vols, take care of those Wildcats.